Hello, founders. It is time for another pitch deck critique and review. And this time we have a pitch deck from Motion Node. And this founder has sent me 3 pitch decks. That's because this founder has tried to improve each pitch deck as they go. As we can see here, it is a pre-seed, and we are trying to raise 150K, which is a huge question mark. Now, I'm going to give you the too long did not read version of this. I want you to lean in really close if you're listening to this. You have committed the cardinal sin of making this pitch deck for the customer, and you are assuming that the investor knows exactly what you are talking about, has inside knowledge of the problem that you are trying to solve, has worked on the problem as much as you, is a domain expert in the problem just like you, and therefore, I'm just gonna let you know I'm completely lost. When I scanned through this pitch deck, all 3 times that you sent to me, every time it got a little better, but a whole lot worse because you kept refining the language to make these assumptions that I knew exactly what you were talking about in terms of what this startup does. So while I'm going to give you kudos for putting in all the effort and work into this pitch deck, I'm going to reach to the screen and I'm going to shake you and give you some advice and make you change your deck, and you're going to see it. And I would suggest that you take this and you show it to colleagues and maybe potential investors, and you get their feedback as well. I have a feeling that you are going to get people totally agreeing with me. For the rest of you out there, if you want a review on your pitch deck, you want to run the gauntlet, roll the dice, see what happens, just stay to the end of the video. We have a process and how we're going to take in pitch decks. I would appreciate it if you do that. And while you're here, you might as well like, comment, and subscribe. I would appreciate it because my name is Ed Kang. I'm a 7-time funded founder with 2 exits, just a fancy way of saying I failed a bunch of times for your benefit. I've made all the mistakes. And while I can't help you completely eliminate mistakes, I can minimize the damage with things as you are going to learn in this. Let's get right into this pitch deck. I can tell right off the bat by this one-liner: preparing businesses for the next level of productivity with the use of AI. I appreciate that it's straightforward, but this is a marketing slogan. It is jargon. It is fluff. You are selling to the customer here, not to the investor. This means nothing to me as the investor. So you want to be very clear and straightforward in terms of what your product does and what industry you're in, maybe an indication of who you're solving the problem for, and you will start the investor on the right foot. Now, here's your problem statement. Kudos for having it your first slide. And you start with this quote right up top here. This is the first thing you're asking me to read. It's a quote from McKinsey that says 77% who use project management software believe that these tools do not improve productivity. 77% of employees, that is supposed to be a big number. I have no context. 77% of employees for small business, enterprise. This is where you want to get a lot more specific about the size, scope, and severity of the problem. And then it says, do not believe that these tools improve productivity. How do we know this? This is just an opinion. You're not giving me a problem as an investor I can sink my teeth into. But let's just take for granted I'm kind of interested. Let's take for granted that I go, okay, I have some experience working with enterprise and productivity, and I know this is an issue right here. Then you get into all of these. Current project management tools fall short increasing productivity. This is exactly as if you said project management industry is broken. Financial services are broken. Healthcare is broken. It means nothing to the investor. You're talking more to the customer. And again, you're assuming that the investor shares the opinion with you. I have not used current project management tools the same way that you have, and therefore you've lost me right away. And then you say all this right here: team members manually update priorities and ETAs. What if I don't know what an ETA is? Manual task allocation by the member. What if I don't know what that means? Domino effect created from stakeholder requests. I don't know what that means. And then you have all these results, which are trying to show the pain of the problem, but I have no context whatsoever in terms of understanding this problem because I do not have the domain expertise that you do. Maybe if I was a customer and I was using something like Asana or Monday.com and I was completely frustrated with these aspects, maybe I would understand, but I don't use Asana. I don't use Monday.com. Therefore, you are assuming that the investor knows what you're talking about, and that is a very bad assumption. So what you want to do is explain this to me as if I am in grade 6. Imagine you are attending Visit Your Child at School Day, and you sat in front of a grade 6 class and said, guess what? I make software that helps people do more stuff at work because right now they do things like this and everyone gets confused, and this is how many people suffer from the problem, and we've made it better by doing this, which is going to be your solution slide. But instead, I get to another problem slide. A typical day in Advanced Digital software company with 50 members using Asana. I just established I don't use Asana. So all this information just gives me big question marks. I have no idea if there's client dissatisfaction, suboptimal task allocation. I have no idea what all this means. You just walked me through using Asana in a way that demands that I know Asana. I can't harp on this enough here that you are not empathizing with the investor. It doesn't work. You'd rather have a generic work process and figure out what happens. Even if it's as simple as I have 100 tasks and I have no idea who to assign them to, so I have to manually do it, and that's where it all goes wrong. And instead, you have a solution for that. Let's work with that for a moment here, all right? The problem is that all other project management software basically leaves it to the member to assign tasks to everybody else, and this gets overloaded and it does not work, which is the reason 77% of all users of this stuff say it does not work. We are not productive. So now you're supposed to get to the solution. An AI-driven solution, Motion Node is conceived from the ground up with automation as its core. That's completely generic. And I know I'm sounding really harsh with this founder, but I believe the founder can take it because this founder's proven that he will go back to the drawing board over and over again and wants to improve the pitch deck. Saying that you are working from the ground up with automation as core, that is a generic statement that everybody can say it. Now you're getting into facts. I don't know if these are facts or not. AI intelligently adjusts task priorities and ETAs. AI algorithms allocate tasks, etc. No time lost. How do we know this? Optimal task allocation. I don't know this. Stakeholder satisfaction. That's a given. Okay. No context switching. All right. What does that absolutely mean? So let's go with what we're talking about so far. Let's workshop this together, shall we? Problem is that 100 tasks go in and nobody knows how to assign them. And the solution is 100 tasks go in, the AI reads everybody's emails or understands what they're working on and automatically assigns the task so the individual doesn't make the mistake that causes the chain reaction and productivity goes out the door. In fact, this is so fast, productivity is boosted by 90%. Or we can say, making this a 10x solution, that only 10% of the typical time used to decide who should be doing tasks is automatically assigned by this AI. Problem solution in a way that any investor can understand. In fact, you could be pitching it and telling the story. Imagine you have a to-do list of 100 things to do, and if you don't know who to assign it, or if you assign it and they assign it somewhere else, then you've got this domino effect, and that's what happens inside companies. And then you can say all the other companies like Monday.com still leave it to the individual to manually assign tasks. And this is the problem that we're solving for. This is the novel insight that nobody else has looked at. Nobody else would dare put in there because it's too expensive or they overlook it or they think it's a dumb feature. But we believe that's going to change everything. Hey, what about that for problem solution? So here we go again, a typical day at Advante Digital. And first of all, I have no idea who Advante Digital is. You haven't established any context. Now, I've read the rest of the deck. I know what you're trying to do, but you say a software company with 40 members using Motion Node. I don't know what any of this means because you don't have it side by side. I don't understand it, and therefore you have completely lost me. You're saying no time lost, high client satisfaction, optimized assignments. How do we know these things are occurring if I don't have inside information and knowledge of what's going on in there? You've got way too much information on these slides when you could be communicating everything that you need in one headline sentence with maybe 3 bullet points. That's it. If you really want to get into understanding how it works, create a how it works slide and leave all this stuff to that slide. The opportunity, here we go again. You've got all this inside information. The rapid evolution of work modules, especially with remote and distributed teams, has created a high demand for more sophisticated tools that align with the automated trend. Who are you talking to here? You are basically pitching a customer. I want to know how many users there are in this and who you're going to focus on. You've given me nothing in terms of numbers, in terms of a TAM, SAM, SOM. You're not telling me the exact size of the market and giving me an analysis of what's going on because you've given me these generic numbers. What is that? I have no idea how much money we could be making. While generative AI is capturing attention for its novelty, now you're talking about the competition. This is not the opportunity. Go back and understand how to do a proper bottom-up TAM, SAM, SOM analysis and put that in there. Why now? Once again, all this information, you are pitching someone who either has inside information, understands the jargon, or is more like a customer. Companies are mature enough to try new automated management tools that incorporate AI. How can you prove this? After the generative AI novelty wears off, Now you're making a huge assumption and you're comparing your project management to generative AI. I do not understand the reason you made this connection. Motion Node represents this next wave of AI application. Once again, fluff, marketing, jargon. Investor does not care. Investor wants to know exactly how you have the domain expertise, how you're going to spend their money, and how they're going to make money by a wonderful opportunity that you are presenting to them. Okay, now you've got this competitor analysis here. Self-optimize. What does that mean? ETA prediction. I could say this is getting a little closer because I know what ETA stands for, estimated time of arrival, but investor may not know that. Easy reprioritization. Don't understand what that means. All-in-one communication center. And yes, you have done a features and benefits matrix, but I don't understand what you're comparing. You got all these companies and everything is no, 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 which makes me believe all you've done is you've tilted this competitive analysis to basically look favorable upon you. That's not a competitive analysis. You're just bragging by this point in time, and you're probably making up stuff because that's what I'm thinking as the investor. Now we have here in this crowded market, participants lack real-time adaptability. Now that's a problem statement. That's not a competitive statement. Unlike other platforms that use outdated technology, how do you know it's outdated? What exactly are you getting at? And are trying to adapt to catch up with the AI wave. Motion Node is designed from the outside with the AI at its core. That is an erroneous, hyperbolic statement because I know for a fact other project management companies, I work with these project management companies, all these other SaaS platforms that are trying to automate this with AI at its core. So now you're making statements that just aren't true, which means you really haven't studied the competition. Business model. I'm going to point out something very, very important. I like the fact that you said business model, it's a SaaS, you pay per seat. That's fine. Our business model is subscription-based, a little redundant because you're putting this over there, ranging for $14.90 to $39.90, and you're saying there's an introductory offer, $19.90. But now let's look down here. You put this in small type. Asana and Monday.com basically charge $9 to $25. What's the problem here? $9 to $25 versus $14 to $39. I need to pause this right here. I know I'm coming across very harsh in this review. Maybe it's late at night. Maybe I've done too many of these things already. The world does not need more SaaS. I'm just being straightforward. SaaS platforms are all over the place. Everybody is building a SaaS, and SaaS is incredibly hard to sell with so much competition out there. However, if you've got a SaaS platform that blows everybody else away, that is an order of magnitude. That's a 10xer. You do something better than other platforms. It doesn't even have to be you're doing something the other platforms don't do. Just do it 10x better and you will win, but you're not telling me anything. And furthermore, I'm going to challenge you on the price. I don't think you pressure tested this pricing assumption. If you're telling me that Monday.com and Asana, big players, okay, the big 800-pound gorillas in this marketplace are charging $9 to $25, and you are charging $14 to $39, basically $40. What are we saying here? You better be coming to me with the goods and basically say our stuff is 100xer. It warrants the cost because it blows everybody else away, and you haven't done that yet. Therefore, this slide is extremely dangerous. I'd rather you just completely take out the Asana and the Monday.com pricing and explain it, but you'll always end up having to defend your pricing assumptions, and that's going to kill you if you haven't set up the reason companies are willing to pay more. There are instances when we will go to a user and we will be doing due diligence on some software providers, a founder, a startup, and they'll say, truthfully, I'd pay double for this. Now we've got something that we are working with. We got product market fit because the problem solution fit is so strong. All we got to do is get the word out there. If you're willing to pay double, that means there's so much value. But you haven't given me that here. I can't say it enough. Again, I'm being harsh. Please take this in the spirit in which I'm giving it. I'm trying to make you better. Let's continue. Go to market slide. You're basically saying you're in beta testing now. You have 200 plus users across clients and partners, and you've got this going out here. This is not a go-to-market slide. This is basically a traction slide right now. You're explaining what's going to happen. Now, I understand what you're trying to do, and it's definitely got merit, but you're not explaining how you are going to go from here to here in a way that's scalable and differentiated. For example, saying we will engage online tech communities. I don't understand how you're going to do that. Show me the communities. Explain to me how you are doing this. What's your customer acquisition costs, etc. Target social media ads. In fact, this is probably the closest to a go-to-market strategy that you've got on this slide. Meet the founder. This is the team slide. This is one of the best slides in the deck, partially, and I'm going to explain the reason. First, this founder is incredibly courageous for sitting here sending me 3 pitch decks and having me rip them apart. Here, we've got all this previous experience in these bullet points. You could probably cut this down a little bit, but that's okay. I like the fact that you've got serious domain expertise. This is important. Now you've got this section here. It says this journey has not only honed his expertise, but also imbued him with a deep understanding of complexities, blah, 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 blah. We do not care. What the investor wants to know, very quickly, cut it down. Have you worked on this problem before? Do you have domain expertise? How do I know that you are de-risking this investment enough? And on top of which, where is the team? Where is the team? If you're telling me you've got 200 people working on this and you're working inside a company and it's just you on the team slide, that's a big flag for me, which leads us to the next big flag. Capital sought, 150K. For what? An engineering team? As far as I'm concerned, 150K is going to get you one engineer. That's it. That is not what a team makes. So you've not explained to me how this 150K works. If you are building project management software and you want to grow to a unicorn, I'm thinking you need at least $500,000 if it's built, or you need a couple $1,000,000 if you are trying to get to the next level. If you're saying the software already exists and it's being used, what's with the pre-seed number here of 150,000? It doesn't make a lot of sense. It makes sense if you need $150,000 to launch an MVP, but you've got things going, and now you're saying you need an engineering team and sales and marketing team for 150K. Makes no sense. Now, maybe you're making a lot of revenue with your current company that's using this software. That would make sense, but then why would you need just 150K if your company is doing well? This does not pass the sniff test. There are a lot of questions here, and it makes me start to wonder what's underneath the hood. This slide does not give us confidence. You want to change this up and readjust your numbers. On top of which, growth projections, every founder needs to listen to this. Don't put growth projections in a pre-seed deck. They are wildly off. We need to know you can build a financial model, but that will come up in due diligence. Saying that first year of revenue aim to generate 500K, how do you know? What evidence do you have? You haven't shown me any activity, that you have a go-to-market strategy that works. I don't understand cost of customer acquisition, your return on advertising spend, all that stuff makes no sense. Estimated by growing user base from 2 to 152 companies. Where does that number come from? Makes no sense. Average users paying $19.90 per month. This is very dangerous right there. Finally, we get to the contact slide, and this is the final nail in the coffin. We're going to put a fork in this pitch deck and call it done. This is another hypey statement. This is a visionary statement that's got jargon, marketing fluff to it. Now, I don't technically mind these statements here at the last slide if you're inviting an investor to join you to be a part of the vision. But I do mind it here because your entire deck has been filled with these types of marketing and hypey jargon, fluffy slogans. This doesn't help if you put it at the last page and you further cement what I've been experiencing with this deck. I just had to pause for just a moment because while I think I was really mean, but once again, I just want to appreciate the founder putting in all this hard work. I have a feeling that this software in action is so much better than it's coming across in this pitch deck. Also, the fact that you've got a company using it, you've already got users, and you've been in this space and you understand what it means to work on this problem shows you've got something. It's just not coming through your pitch deck. And this is a common issue with so many founders. The internal reality of the startup and the external perception as communicated by the pitch deck are two completely different things. There's this massive chasm, cognitive dissonance, all this friction. I don't get it. I don't understand. Let's get back and tell the story in a way investors understand. Keep working at it. As promised, if you're a founder and you want a pitch deck review, all you have to do is leave a comment. But I want you to leave a comment and I want you to explain to me what you are developing and building, because I'm going to invite you to submit your pitch deck depending on your little mini elevator pitch in the comments. Because I've got so many requests, I'm trying to look for various degrees of decks that we can work on. It's not to say I don't want to help you, but the number of requests means that I have to get pickier and choosier, and I hope you understand. Thank you for everybody's patience. Watch the videos that I put on the screen right now, including the playlist for all my pitch deck reviews, where I've snuck in some gems in there that I think will help, and I will see you in the next pitch deck critique and review.